Hi, how are you? I hope you guys are having an amazing day today. Welcome to Glowmas Day 5? I think we're on 5. Welcome to Glowmas Day 5. I'm very excited for today's video. I did a version of this video idea last year, and it was actually a video that was inspired by Lauren May Beauty here on YouTube. She did a video talking about like makeup brand superlatives, and I thought it would be really fun to do that same kind of thing, but with YouTubers, because I'm shady. And you guys seem to really like that video. A lot of you guys had a lot of opinions about that video, and so I decided to do it again this year and give you guys my YouTube superlatives. I'll link the site that I found all of these superlatives on down below. So if any of you guys want to do this video or give your own opinions on it, you can use those. I kind of pulled the ones that I thought would be the most interesting and fitting for this group of YouTubers currently, and I kind of expanded this year. I took it outside of just the beauty community, and I wanted to do just all different types of YouTubers that I watch, that you guys watch. So yeah, today's candle of the day is Marshmallow Fireside. It's a very calming and nice scent. I would 10 out of 10 recommend. Let's just get started. So the very first one I saw that jumped out to me was Class Clown, and I was thinking on it, and I was like, who is the class clown? Like, who makes the jokes? And then it came to me. Teaspill, the nameless and faceless creator who literally crushes it with content. Teaspill's editing cracks me up, and I feel like Teaspill just makes drama funny. Like, even some drama that's serious, like somehow Teaspill manages to make it really funny. I feel like Teaspill's edits, I'm gonna say Teaspill because I don't want to assume their gender. I feel like they, what was it? I think it was like their YouTube Rewind, like their version of YouTube Rewind was so freaking funny last year. I was showing it to my boyfriend and I was just dying laughing. Like, I feel like Teaspill does some of the funniest and most creative style of editing on YouTube, which it's pretty evident that it's a really popular style because now we're seeing more and more and more accounts kind of mimic that style of editing. That's no shade, just that it's just true. Teaspill has inspired a lot of people to start channels with that type of editing. Their editing specifically is just absolutely hysterical. So I had to give class con to Teaspill because I feel like out of all of the other channels, they just make me laugh so hard with their editing. I think it's so good. The next superlative was Life of the Party. I don't know. I feel like Nikita Dragon kind of wins this one. I feel like Nikita is always less Life of the Party-esque in terms of like personality, although I do think Nikita has a very extra personality, but just in a wardrobe alone, I feel like Nikita steals the show at whatever party she's at. Like, she just completely owns whatever outfit she's wearing. Her Coachella looks always are amazing. Like, she looks phenomenal. Nikita herself is a very questionable person who has done very questionable things, and I think is oftentimes allowed to get away with too much on YouTube, but her style and the way that she presents herself is so just like awe-inspiring. Like, I feel like she walks into a room in LA parties and heads like turn. She's just so good at doing these really extra looks, and I think because her personality is so extra, I feel like at parties I always see Nikita in Snapchats of like, or Instagram stories of people at parties. At Jaclyn Hill's Halloween party, she was somehow in every single Instagram story that everyone was posting. Like, I think she definitely seems like she would be just the life of the party, raging it up, having a good time, so much fun. And I think the Instagram pictures that she posts definitely prove that one. Okay, this one I thought was really funny. This is most likely to win the lottery but then lose the ticket. I just think Tana Mojo's, here's my thing about Tana Mojo. Tana Mojo's a mess. Like, let's be honest, she's a mess. She's a train wreck. Like, she's a mess. However, I've made videos being very critical of her before, and I stand by those critiques, and I have a lot of critiques of her. However, she's just a type of person that I low-key just like, I want her to succeed. Like, I feel like everybody really wants her to succeed, and everybody really wants her because she's likable, she's funny. Her content isn't for everyone, but like, she's likable, and like, something about her is very likable to the point where even people who don't necessarily like the things that she does still are like, okay, but like, her content's kind of fun, and like, she's funny. Like, we were talking in my group chat the other day about like guilty pleasure YouTubers, and Tana's absolutely one of mine, where like, I have so many issues with so many of the things she does, but I still for some reason like can't stop watching it. Like, and I don't even want to say it's like a train wreck and I'm waiting for the crash because I've already seen 10 crashes. It's just something about her. However, I feel like she's most likely to win the lottery and lose the ticket for a couple of reasons. First of all, she's very unorganized. She's very honest about the fact that she's unorganized. I feel like she always is losing things. Something's always lost that's like super important. I feel like that's her luck. Also, I have to say, I think there is something to be said about the fact that she's been very successful despite a lot of her scandals, especially some of her very big scandals. And while I do think she weirdly is a person who I see growth and change in when it comes to the racism stuff that happened with her, I also to question how more successful she could be right now if she hadn't have had those scandals or if she hadn't have had those things happen to her. How many more subscribers she might have, how much bigger she might have been if she wasn't in a way blacklisted for like a year and a half because of the iDubbbz thing and everything that happened with that. So in a way, I feel like she did kind of win the lottery because she was one of the fastest growing YouTube channels for like a very short amount of time, and then she lost the ticket because she got exposed. So I felt like that was a fitting one for Tana. I don't know. I feel like she has definitely made strides in the past year, kind of, but also now that I'm thinking about it, like the wedding happened this year, but it feels like that was like 2 years ago because of how quickly everything happens. So I don't know. The next superlative was most unique YouTuber, and for this one I picked Joanne Acedia. I love Joanne Acedia. I recently found her channel and I love her. She's so unique. Like when I heard unique, I was like, Joanna, like she's so incredibly unique. I think a lot of people think that she's kind of like an Emma Chamberlain knockoff because maybe some of her very, very early content did have that sort of vibe to it. But if you thought that after watching a video like a year ago, I would highly recommend going and watching her newer videos and watching her again. She is such a unique and interesting individual. The only person she even slightly reminds me of is a young, like Simply Nailogical, but still in her own way, she's just so incredibly unique. She does these videos that nobody else does. She does content that nobody else cares to do, and her videos have such a unique twist to them. I also think just as a YouTuber, she's living a very unique lifestyle because she is a college student full time, but she has like 3 million subscribers, but she's like going to school for like I don't know, physics, something like that. She's going to school for this crazy hard thing that like must take up so much of her time, but she still somehow manages to balance this channel of 3 million subscribers and hasn't like sold out or done shady brand deals or had a scandal. Like she's just a very unique girl. I think she's very cool, and I think she's a really good role model for younger kids. I genuinely love her and her content. I find her so funny. My boyfriend doesn't, but I think that's because she can sometimes be loud and he doesn't like that. He doesn't like random bursts of loud in videos. I do. I think it's hysterical. I think she's great. I also love in every video I've noticed she's now started, if she gets like a really mean hate comment, she literally pins that comment at the top. And I don't know, something about the subtle savagery just like kills me. Like she's very like subtly kind of a freaking savage, and I kind of love it. Like Logan Paul who? I only know Joanne Acedia. This is really shady and I'm so sorry, but this came up and I had to poke fun at it because what the was that? James Charles definitely wins the award for Best Rapper of 2019.
Hi sisters, welcome back to my channel. Listen, cause this video is lit like a candle.
That rapping tutorial, okay, listen, I know that James Charles's content is definitely more geared towards like a younger audience, so his content is not necessarily made for me, but that video popped up and I was like, James, I know you can do better than this. Like what? What? So best rapper of 2019, Kendrick Lamar who? I only know James Charles. The next one was most likely to succeed, and I think this one I had to kind of ponder on for a little bit. I definitely think Phillip DeFranco is most likely to succeed. I wouldn't be surprised if Phillip DeFranco in like 2025 has created a competing platform to YouTube, like with his Beautiful Bastards. Like, I don't know what he's doing. I feel like Phillip DeFranco is like 10 steps ahead of everyone else on this platform. He has so many different things that he's working on, so many different projects he's working on. He's basically building a network at this point. He's doing so many collabs, he's putting out so many products, he has so many channels that he's working on. If you haven't watched his channel, A Conversation With, which is basically just a podcast where he interviews YouTubers, and I love it. He's so good at the interview format, like it's fantastic. If you haven't watched that, I would highly recommend it. And I personally think that he is going to be, as far as like even just mainstream goes, he's going to be one of the most successful YouTubers on the platform, 100%. There's not a doubt in my mind that he's gonna do something bigger than what YouTube actually is, and possibly do something that's gonna change the game, because I think even so far, he's done a lot of game-changing things. His news format is incredibly unique and something a lot of other people have tried to copy but just can't do it as successfully. And he really was a advocate for YouTubers joining Patreon. I know he kind of created his own thing that's not Patreon anymore. He kind of hopped off Patreon, but he was an advocate for creators using Patreon, for creators doing something about the fact that YouTube wasn't paying them what he felt they were worth. And I think that's huge. So I think he's definitely most likely to succeed for sure. The next superlative was best dressed, and I know that this might make some people angry, but I have to give credit where credit is due. Jaclyn Hill, despite having hairy lipstick and having one of the worst makeup launches we've ever seen, has a bomb closet. Have you seen her closet tour? It's phenomenal. She dresses so well, in my opinion, and I think she always looks very put together, but in a little bit more of a basic way. I feel like you can see YouTubers who do like crazy extra looks, like Jeffree Star does all these crazy looks and like, you know, all these really crazy things that are like insane. But Jaclyn Hill has a very like basic yet still bougie yet still attainable-esque look. Like I feel like a person could actually replicate her clothing because it doesn't just have Gucci all over it. Like it actually is. Like she posted this picture with like a green jacket and like green shoes, and she looked amazing. Like she looked awesome. She puts together very, very good outfits, and I actually love her sense of fashion. I think it's fantastic, and her closet is goals, and that's all I have to say about that. So, okay, cutest couple. This one I was really excited about because I was like, man, who is the cutest couple? Jenna and Julian are literally the cutest couple on YouTube. Can we all just agree? Is that the one thing that we can all agree on, that Jenna and Julian are literally the cutest couple on YouTube? Their Aries and Virgo energy just bounces off of each other in such a perfect and beautiful way. I love them. As a fellow, Jenna Marbles is a Rochesterian, and I low-key want to be her. I don't think it's low-key, I think it's high-key. I want to be her. She's amazing. She's so kind. She's so funny. She puts out such good content that's like genuinely just funny. Like she's funny without even having to really try to be funny. And I think Julian pairs very nicely with that. I know a lot of people don't necessarily watch Julian. They only know him through Jenna, but he has a channel of his own that is fantastic. Editing work and the time that he must put into his videos to be that good is astounding. Like his editing is fantastic. If you haven't ever watched an episode of Aries Kitchen, 10 out of 10 would recommend. It's honestly hysterical. And I think when they do videos together, they just have such a lovely energy. Even their podcasts too, where sometimes they touch on things, they do funny things, but they touch on things that are a little bit more serious. They both think very similarly about things and have a very good mindset about things. And I think they both just have a really good head on their shoulders. And I think a big reason for that is because they both had to like work to get to what they have. They weren't just handed it at age 20. Like they had to work really hard to have the success that they have, and I think that's really cool. So they are my favorite couple, 100% cutest couple of 2019. They are adorable. I love Jenna and Julian. I love them. I love their dogs. I love everything about them. Okay, this one, most changed. So this is the person who's changed the most since 2018. And this is not meant in a bad way, because I know there's a lot of videos about this person that are like, they've changed. I think Emma Chamberlain has changed the most since 2018 to 2019, but I don't think it's a bad thing. When Emma Chamberlain started her channel, she was really young. I think she just turned 18 this year. So she was like 16, 17 when she started posting videos and getting really big. And I cannot imagine being 16 years old and having 1 million subscribers on YouTube. I'm not entirely sure how any of these kids make it out of that alive, because that is a very, very tough position to be in. When you're 16, 17, 18, even all the way up to like in your 20s, you're changing and evolving as a person a lot. I am not the same person that I was when I was 16, and I think the world's a better place for it. Watching Emma Chamberlain grow into, I think, a person who, I don't know, because I think her content used to be very good, and I think her new content is very good, but I think her old content was just different because she was 16 and she was like, I'm gonna do whatever I want and I'm gonna drive around and, you know, eat chapstick, basically. Like that was kind of her vibe. And now getting to see her mature and grow and kind of become a person that's a little bit more maybe reserved and a little bit more quiet and maybe is just kind of doing her own thing and staying in her lane, I think that's all you can really ask for from a kid. I mean, she's not promoting anything psychotic to her fans. She's not doing crazy brand deals that are like scams. Like, she's just a normal kid who's growing up in front of the camera. And I don't think any changes that she has should be criticized. Does she now buy Gucci when she used to make fun of it? Sure. But I'm sure if you were a millionaire when you were 18, you would also probably be buying Gucci and doing all this crazy stuff. I don't know. I think that one's interesting. I think Emma Chamberlain has changed a lot, and I think her content has changed, but I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a normal evolution of a kid who's young and changing. That's what I kind of think. And I think it's going to be interesting to see her change even more as she kind of grows and develops even more on this platform. I think that's going to be really interesting. Best Bromance is the next one, and this one has to go to Cody Ko and Noelle, Tiny Meeking. They are so funny. This was a close tie because there's a couple of bromances that I like love. Cody Ko and Noelle are one, Danny Gonzalez and Drew Gooden are one, and also Eddie Burback and Gus Johnson are another. The three of these duos are just so, if you haven't watched any of their content, these guys are so funny. Like, truly and genuinely, this is where I find comedy in YouTube, is from these people. Like, I think them alone separately as individual creators are fantastic, all of them, but when you put these guys together, the individual duos I talked about, it's just hysterical. Like, they're so funny, and they can genuinely just like play off of each other and like each other and get along really well, and it's so cool to see that. Dudes just like cracking jokes and like being genuinely funny. Most of the time they're not just being funny at the like disadvantage of somebody else. They're not being like misogynistic or racist or have to do this shocking humor. That's why it kills me when everyone's like, oh, I'm just doing shocking humor. They don't need to resort to like shocking humor to be genuinely funny. And Cody, specifically Cody and Noelle and Danny and Drew, have kind of reverted to like making musical parodies, which in an age where every YouTuber thinks they have a singing career, it's hysterical. Like, it's so funny to listen to their parodies, and they're just great. I love all the duos I just mentioned. This one made me laugh because this just so perfectly described Jeffree Star that I was like, wow, most likely to survive the Hunger Games. I feel like Jeffree Star has survived the Dramageddon games every time. He's been involved in like all of the major dramas that have happened in the beauty community the past few years, and somehow he persists. Like, he just survives all of it. And for somehow he also comes out looking good in all of them. Like, when other people get trashed, he somehow comes out with more fans and more subscribers. So I think Jeffree Star would win the Hunger Games, not because I think he would like be good at like killing kids. I think he, which is really the plot of the book, which when you really think about it is so screwed up, but I think he would be really good because he could like just manipulate the audience into sending him all the free things that he needed to survive. I think he'd do well at that. Yeah, that one really definitely described him for me. Best shoulder to cry on. I feel like the best shoulder to cry on for this year on YouTube was Shane Dawson. Shane Dawson has done so many different collabs with so many different people, and I feel like at this point he's definitely the Dr. Phil of YouTube. If you watch the collaboration he did with the Dolan twins, where they basically filmed a video talking to him about stuff, he seems like a genuinely good person. Like, I think he genuinely wants to help people, especially wants to help creators. Creators kind of go to him when they need to have really deep conversations that are really intense and need to be like really honest. We saw it with the Graveyard Girl thing. We saw it with TanaCon, saw it with the Dolan twins. Like, he's kind of the go-to YouTuber for really intense and deep conversations. And so I think Shane would definitely win best shoulder to cry on. I think a lot of people in the YouTube community depend on him to be able to facilitate these kind of more emotional and scary and tricky conversations. And he's really good at it. I think he is he's very good at making people feel comfortable enough to have those kind of scarier and deeper conversations. So that would be Shane's, I think. This one made me laugh too because it's really random, but this was on the Superlative website. It said, most likely to have a child born addicted to Starbucks. And at first I was like, me, but then I was like, no, Simply Nailogical. First of all, this doesn't even begin to perfectly sum up Simply Nailogical because she is just like one of my favorite creators on this platform, not only because of her content, but because of who she is as a person. She's such an advocate for education and being just informed on what you're talking about. Every year she does this tuition giveaway where she literally pays someone's college tuition, which is like goals. Like, can you say goals? That's literally the dream. Every year she does stuff like that. And I just think it's funny that like at her core, she just loves tea. It's not like anything else. Like her addiction is tea. Her addiction is Starbucks. And I thought this one was really funny because I was just like, wow, Christine, yeah, simply neological, constantly drinking tea. If she ever had a child, which I don't think she wants one, but if she's said that before, but if she ever were to have one, they would 100% be like out of the womb being like, Bean. Like that would be her child. Biggest prankster. This one has to go to David Dobrik. David Dobrik is definitely the biggest prankster. David Dobrik's content and the evolution of his content in the past couple of years is very interesting. And it's something I actually would probably want to do a more in-depth video on. Like I would love to really explore his content and how he's changed in a lot of different ways. Some for the better and some for the worse. I find David Dobrik's content entertaining at the very least, despite the concerns I have about like 10-year-olds watching it. I find his content entertaining, and I do think his pranks are actually legitimately hysterical. They're very like well thought out pranks, which I think is very different from other YouTubers, because number one, most YouTubers' pranks are fake, and I don't think his are actually fake. I think most of his pranks are real. And number two, they're not as like creative. He does these really, I'll never forget the one where he like legitimately tricked one of his friends into thinking that the San Andreas fault was about to like actually like erupt, I guess, like have an earthquake, like that the big earthquake was coming, and he paid all of these extras to be like neighbors coming out of their house concerned with like their children and their belongings, and he paid like police officers to come to the house and like tell the friend that this was all happening, and he like, it was like the most intense, scary, interesting prank that I've ever seen anyone do, and he had every detail down to like telling the person's family that this was happening. So when he called their family, they all played along, like down to that. Like it's insane. He does really, really, really good pranks that I find very interesting. So definitely biggest prankster goes to David Dobrik. All right, this is one of the last ones. This is most likely to be a reality star. I feel like Trisha Paytas, right? She's already kind of been a reality star. Like she's been in a bunch of reality TV shows, and she's been on a bunch of TV shows. She was in the Reality House, and while I didn't really watch that show, mostly because, I don't know, I just got kind of bored with the concept. I know it was really good and people really liked it, but I wasn't a big fan of the Reality House. Maybe I'll go through and like binge it now that they're all done with, but I didn't like having to wait like a YouTube, I don't know. But Trisha Paytas I think would definitely be most likely to be a reality star, because she's the one that the producers throw in to like stir some stuff up. You know what I mean? Like when you need some drama and you need some craziness, you call Trisha Paytas and then you throw her on the show, because she'll stir the pot. Like you know that Trisha's gonna be able to stir the pot very, very well. The final superlative is most likely to save the planet, and I think this one absolutely has to go to Mr. Beast. If you guys don't know, this is kind of a subtle plug for what he's doing, but I love what he's doing. Mr. Beast is actually trying to plant 20 million trees by the year 2020, and I think they're very close to their goal. Basically, they've partnered with a foundation where every dollar that gets donated, they will plant one tree. So I think right now they're at about 15 or 16 million trees. They're very close. I bought the merch for it, and I've been actively trying to like get the word out, because I think it's really cool to see the YouTube community come together and raise this amount of money. Like that's kind of nutty. I think it's cool that he is actively doing something with his platform to really try and help the environment and help change things. I just think that's dope. So definitely most likely to save the environment goes to Mr. Beast, 100%. And also I'll leave the link to Team Trees down below, and if you can just donate $1, it actually will make a difference. Like actually one living tree will be planted because of your dollar, which I think is really cool. All right, friends, well that is going to be it for me. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, or just like, or just subscribe, or do neither. Honestly, just so happy you're watching me. Thank you so much for being here. My merch, my social media, and everything I'm wearing on my face will be linked down below, along with a link to register to vote. That's right. You can go click on that link, you can go register to vote, and you can make a difference in the world. And also, if you're not from the United States and that link does not apply to you, please make sure you're staying informed on what's going on in your local elections in your part of the world. Make sure you're using your voice in a positive way, because the world absolutely needs more of that. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!